Okay, what we want to look at now is a way of gaining control of a person who's not actively resisting you, but they're not going to cooperate. They've got their hands either in their pocket, folded in front of them. Okay, we want something where we can gain control of this person, get them in a handcuffing position, but where we're not being excessively brutal on them, where we're not looking like we don't know what we're doing, and most importantly, we're not engaging in a wrestling match where we're going to drag things out. Dave, if you'd come on out. Dave's going to simulate having his hands in his pockets. From a law enforcement perspective, this is not a good thing because I don't know what he's got in those pockets. So as I go to gain control of him, I want to keep his hand there until I bring it out on my terms. What I don't want to do is come up and start wrestling with him, trying to pull him around. This provides no benefit, and this may incite him to a higher level of resistance. I want to come in, I'm going to go with a single blow into triple warmer 12 in the head of the tricep. This pressure point is activated by a hit. Has the effect of relaxing the shoulder, relaxing the elbow. At the same time, it's going to help me to acquire a wrist lock on him. Just imagine, if you will, that he's wearing a pair of pants. You can come in and tap with an elbow, with a ridge hand. This can be done with a flashlight as well, but that doesn't really look good for the cameras. We're going to come in with a tap, bringing his hand out, controlled. At this point, we can facilitate the arm bar. If he complies at this point, brings his other hand out. Okay. This allows us to control, going to a chicken wing type hold. We can apply cuffs. If he's non-compliant, then we go to the next level from there. Once again, turn, go at this from a different angle. As I come in, I want to tap the belly of the tricep, controlling the wrist. If you were actually wearing pants, blue jeans or such with pockets, I would hold this hand in, tap, bring the hand out under my control. In this case, maybe bring him up into a chicken wing, okay, or bring him out into an arm bar, either way. The important thing is I'm using his body to monitor his other arm, and we have any range of options open once the hands are out of the pocket and the arm is extended. We want to go simply directly into a hammer lock and direct him from here up against a car, wherever we're going to restrain him, then bring the other hand out again on our own terms. Thank you, Dave. Okay, what we want to look at now is the person who, they're not resisting passively, but they're not aggressively attacking you either. They're very agitated, they're upset, and they don't want to go with you. This can't be happening to them, you're making a mistake. Depending on your department's guidelines or your student's department's guidelines, this may or may not be appropriate for a chemical aerosol or something like that, but what we're trying to do is provide force options that stay at a very low level, that don't damage the person, and also don't resort to equipment. You can always escalate, but it's very hard to de-escalate. Dave, if you'd come on out again. This time Dave's realized that he's probably going to spend the rest of the night in jail, and he's upset. He's waving and gesturing. What I don't want to do is cross his body. This takes too long and gives him time to react. Okay? I want to come directly in and catch him on the same side. Notice that what I'm doing here is catching, taking the fingers and rotating them this way as I bring his hand to me. At this point, if he decides to swing at me, he has to punch across his own body, and I control him on the finger lock. At this point, what we simply want to do is guide the person to the ground, giving them gentle but firm direction to do so. Sir, get on the ground for me, get on the ground, come on, get on the ground. At this point, we turn the arm up. You'll notice I'm using my knee to restrain his head. We'll show this reverse angle in just a minute. Supreme Court has ruled that this is reasonable to do with a resisting suspect. Notice that I haven't hit him though. I've taken him to the ground, maintaining pressure on the back of the arm with my leg, and at this point it's a fairly simple matter to either direct him or to simply reach up and take the other arm. Okay, let's look at that again from the other angle. Dave's agitated, his hands are up. Okay, I might even want to do something over here to get his attention over there and take this hand. The important thing is that I get this particular type of reaction that we call cross-extensor reflex. Basically, it means that this hand is in pain, so that hand goes away. I'm taking all of his fingers. It's possible to interlace the fingers. This hurts worse, and it makes it easier to isolate on a single finger. At this point, we just want to gently direct him to the ground. You might pull him out further, trying to stay in view here. Come on up into him. Control here. And that's my knee, not his elbow. And again, just gently take control, using whatever type of wrist restraint you favor or that your department authorizes you to use. Okay. Again, controlling in here is very important. Sometimes people will try and come into here, but this is, if he tries to push up, he can do so fairly easily. If we maintain pressure on his head, preferably turning his face away from us, if he tries to push up, it really doesn't do very much. This is important where you have a big weight difference. Okay, thank you, Dave. Okay, we're going to give you another angle to look at the pinning technique a little bit better. What I favor, again, this knee should be up here, but I'm back a little bit to give you some clarity. The blade of the hand goes in, this would be pressure point heart 2, which is located, it's the bony knob just about where your crazy bone is. I'm cutting into that. Notice he wants to roll. It tends to bring that hand out. Again, where I should be is here, and this makes his hand want to more or less go out like that. I'm not so much cupping his elbow as cutting in with the aptly named knife edge of the hand. As my hand goes down like this, my elbow lifts his hand up. So I'm not doing this. With this, if he pulls his hand back towards his body, I lose a lot of tension and I'm off balance. Here, I'm standing up. His hand is going this way. My hand is spiraling down this way. Okay. My knee is isolating his neck. And the other, sir, bring the other hand back for me. Comes back very compliant. Okay, at this point, you can bring this hand over and then bring this hand down. Thank you, Bruce. Oh, we'll go with it. Okay, we're going to look at one more level of resistance on the part of your prisoner, or soon-to-be prisoner. And this is physical resistance at the point where you still maybe can get away without using equipment, depending on your physical skills. Okay? So I'm going to have Bruce come on out. This is where positioning plays an important role. Okay? Before anything else, Bruce is not substantially taller than I am, but he's heavier and he's thicker through the upper body. He's stronger. I don't want to stand in this position relative to him. I want to cheat right from the outset by cutting the angle a little bit, either to this side or to this side. Okay. Already positioning myself on a 45, so if he comes with a lunge, I'm in a position to clear away from him and get out of the way. But I don't want to just send him charging through. So what we're going to look at is the principle of crossing his arms up. If Bruce just puts his arms out, okay, it's nearly impossible for me to wedge them apart. But no matter how much he resists, he can't stop me from crossing them up, which gives us a lot of options. So as he's coming with that push, okay, I want to start by zoning to the outside. Notice how my arm crosses through. We'll do this at speed in a minute, but we'll start out slowly. We talked about triple warmer 12 in the margin of his tricep, struck with impacting motion directly into the muscle. We're going to apply that right now. From this crossover position, I'm going to pivot behind him and we're going to take him down right in this area here. Tapping to apply my arm bar, and if he rolls, we just keep him rolling. At this point, again, we acquire our lock, close in on him, and again, acquiring a lock here. First, let's show that from the other side. Okay. Again, as he comes towards me, I want to cross. My hand comes in the center of the cross. My weight is going off to this side, going at a 45-degree angle beyond him. If he's extremely aggressive and his momentum is coming through, I don't want to contest it, but I want to control it. As he continues to come in, I acquire the arm lock, or if he comes in a little bit more aggressively, we can at least lead him through and redirect him. At this point, we may have to take a leg out as well. Simple sweep to bring him down. Acquire the same pin that we used before. This lets you see it from the reverse angle. My knee should be down on his head. I'm up a little bit to give you clarity. And a little torquing action to bring him in line. Bigger, stronger person, you may need to put your hands together, lock him into your body, and torque. Perfectly acceptable to use good body mechanics. Thank you, Bruce. Okay, we're going to take a close look at this crossing action. This time I'm not going to step offline. This isn't a technique, this is detail of part of the technique. So if Dave's hands are out, I want to cross. One hand is sticking and threading and the other hand is just pushing clear, getting ready to strike the blow. Obviously I haven't closed with him so I can't reach him, but this hand that's snaking through the middle is the detail that I need you to have. So right about here, I'm going to take this hand out. Notice how this hand just snakes through. When I cross his hands, his brain becomes momentarily confused. It's going to slow his reaction time, and it's going to buy me a half second to hit him. Okay? Not in the sense of I want to go off on him like a maniac, but I want to deliver a very controlled blow to this pressure point, which will enable me to drop him. If I need to, as I'm coming offline, a lot of sweeps and a lot of trips become available. It's possible that there will be an obstacle I can direct him into. And it's also possible that I simply want to step off, let him go by, get behind him, and resort to something a little simpler and cruder, like grabbing the back of his collar or his belt and assisting him one way or the other. But the key that's going to give that to you is crossing his arms. This can be done with some impact. If it's a bigger, stronger person, don't be afraid to get in there and lay onto them. If we need to go to a different throwing technique then, such as the mobility throw for modern Armenians, okay, again, we have him down in a good controlled position. We can step over and go once again to the same pin. Okay, it doesn't matter what your final takedown is. The important thing is that he's not able to get both hands on you and break your balance. At this point, if you're dealing with an experienced ground grappler, you're at a real disadvantage. Okay, whatever you're used to doing in the gym, you've now got 35 or 40 pounds of extra gear on, you've got a firearm to be conscious of, a whole lot of things that should make you not want to go into this position. So this simple cross can help keep you out of that. Thank you, Dave. Okay, there are a number of pressure points that are taught within the law enforcement community. Unfortunately, they're taught as isolated pieces rather than as parts of a system. So a lot of times, in application, they don't work as well as they should or as well as they were designed to. And this leads to a lot of cops having a very bad feeling about pressure points, thinking that the techniques won't work. Now, the techniques are fine, the problem is the way that they're taught and that the average officer really has no idea how to apply them effectively. We're going to start off, Dave's going to come in and I'm going to show you how not to do one of my favorite techniques. We have two pressure points that lie in the shoulder area here. Okay, this is taught in many academies as a brachial plexus stun, okay, or brachial plexus insertion stun. The idea is that a forearm blow can be delivered, it looks very nice for the camera, and it's supposed to make this person compliant. The problem is, as I deliver this blow, Dave can take it even a couple times. Okay? Dave, if you'd step out and have Bruce step in. For this complex of points to be effective, it needs some type of setup. Okay? My favorite way to demonstrate this is to show just a little flick to a pressure point that I'm not going to teach today in the neck. Okay? Again, with no setup, except for that little flick in the neck, we see the difference. So, now, understand that that technique does not involve flicking the person in the neck before you apply the brachial plexus stun. That's for demonstration purposes only. But what we are going to look at, thank you, Bruce. Bruce is going to step out and take a little breather, and Dave's going to step back in, and I'm going to show you a couple of very acceptable setups for this. Okay? Very commonly used point, Dave's just going to stand relaxed with his hands at his side. Okay? We have a pressure point in the side of the leg, in the meat of the muscle here. Gallbladder 31 if you use the Eastern nomenclature, the common perennial nerve in Western terms, or in police academy terms. This is a very useful point. Okay, it's the point that the Muay Thai fighters use with the low roundhouse or the cut kick. It's very effective if a person's struggling, I can't get the armbar, I'm going to use a little tap in here. Okay, it buckles him, but see how it brings this area in here out. Dave wants to change angles. Don't want to thump him here too many times because this point gets tender very quickly. But I'm not quite getting my armbar. Boom! He's right here. This point can be hit this way as well. And the beauty of it is that I'm not punching him in the face. I'm not back knuckling him. I'm tapping him in the meat of the shoulder. Okay? Related point on the inside of the leg. If you're wearing gi pants, it's actually right where this triangle seam lies. Spleen 11, okay, which is hit from the inside to the outside. This is the femoral nerve in police department terminology. Same type of situation, or maybe he's closed on me, grappling with me. Remember, this has to be hit from the inside to the outside. Again, this is right open for me to hit now. And he's down, and he just sags very nicely and under control. Okay? At this point, you have your cuffing technique. Your person will be groggy for a minute or two, but they'll be able to hop right up. And it's much better than kneeing them in the groin, elbow, something like this, where you're going to have a lot to answer for because you're going to do damage. You're going to cut your hands and quite possibly send them to the hospital. Okay. Thank you, Dave. Okay, we want to look at a couple more pressure points that are commonly used in law enforcement. The first thing you need to understand, though, pressure points do work on drunks, people who are doing drugs, but you have to target your pressure points appropriately. This is no different than with any other empty hand skill, looking at the person you're facing and assessing their qualities. A very tall, athletic person who's wearing baggy pants and a taekwondo t-shirt, he may very well try and kick you in the head and be able to pull it off. Okay? A guy who's built like a beer keg with arms like a gorilla, you don't want to match up your body strength with him. Okay? The same thing applies. You can tell when somebody's acting not quite right. You can smell when somebody's been drinking. This tells you certain things, notably that the pressure points in the upper part of the body are not going to be as active. The person's going to be able to take more manipulation up here. Because of the impairment to their brain, the message takes longer to be processed. Okay? But fortunately, the pressure points down here, the ones we just talked about, the common perennial, the femoral, become very, very active. That's important to know. That aside, we're going to look at a couple of others. This area is called the median nerve, depending on the textbook you use. It's pericardium meridian in the Eastern tradition. Down here at the wrist, we have one that's not really taught for law enforcement, but is very important for our purposes. This heart-related pressure point that will cause the wrist to bend. Where this becomes very important, if Bruce can come on out. Actually, Dave, if you'd come on out also. We're going to show this as a third-party technique. Maybe Bruce is choking Dave. They're having some sort of dispute. Bruce is a fairly strong man. He's being nice to Dave right now because I'm talking. The only way I can control Bruce is to activate that point and go into a restraint hold. At this point, because of Bruce's size and body mechanics, I'm going to use my chest to apply leverage to take him down. Okay. The key thing is that I'm coming into this pressure point in the juncture of his wrist. Bruce, if you just make the arm straight for me. Go ahead and make a fist for me. That way I cannot bend his wrist. If I come in, take the slack out of this nerve, taking it against the bone, I don't get a whole lot of bend. His body structure doesn't incline in that way. Okay? But I get enough, and I get a physical reaction that allows me to put a restraint hold on him or take him to the ground. Let's look at this two-party hold again. Just coming in here, I'm going to come from the opposite side. I reach over. I don't want to just take this hand off because then I open them both up. Maybe they resent me getting in the middle of their conflict. I'm in a bad position here. Remember the principle of crossing the hands. I'm taking this hand out. Bruce is controlled. I can take him where I need to, but I can also use him to shield myself from Dave if I have to. Okay, if I need to take Bruce down, barring him with his own arm, feeding in, turning him, though I don't recommend you turn your back to his former combatant partner there. Either you or your subject may find yourself with more trouble than you wanted. Okay, thanks guys. Okay, once again we're going to look at this particular heart pressure point. This time is related to actually getting handcuffs on your person. Dave, if you'd come on out. And my intention is not to change the handcuffing system you use. It's just to give you a tool within the techniques that you are accustomed to. But if we have a compliant person, sir, turn, face the wall. No, right there, stop, 2 steps back. Hands out at the side, palm up. Hands out at the side, palm up, all the way out. Turn them all the way over, bend over at the waist. At this point, when we go to engage him, we want to make sure the single strand of the handcuff is going to contact this pressure point right here. Okay? We want to do this in one very quick movement because this, again, you're not using the handcuff as a come along, but you do want control of him because if he's going to fight, this is the most dangerous time for you. If he gets loose, and the handcuff is in this orientation particularly, you have someone with a very dangerous weapon that they can use against you. Okay. You also need to be aware, we're going to repeat that for you, you also need to be very aware that some groups practice taking handcuffs and utilizing them as improvised brass knuckles. This is not something that you want. Okay? This is something that can tear you up very, very badly. So make sure you have control of your person. Okay, Dave, you go ahead and assume the position again. Okay. Here, one move and a small circle motion puts him in some pain, allows you to close with him. Bring your other hand back. At this point, we catch the second hand. Even through the gi, he feels the pressure there, and we can snap onto him. Okay, at this point, I'm controlling, he's set up on these 2 points. We're controlling this pressure point in the web of his hand, compressing his fingers here. If he's still resisting, we can use the pressure point we taught you earlier in the shoulder region. If we rotate a little bit, notice that as I close on him, I'm in position where I can tap him in here if I need to take him all the way to the ground. Okay. We'll leave you like that for a little bit. Thank you, Dave. Okay, we're going to take another look at handcuffing, this time with someone who is inclined to resist, or that we think might be inclined to resist. The important thing here is your own safety. Take him to the ground first, then cuff, then search. Okay, Bruce is going to assist us this time. Dave's still a little restrained. Okay, we'll take Bruce from the position we started previously, where he doesn't want to be with the program, and that's all right. We're going to assist him to the ground. Okay. Once we've assumed a hold here, at this point, before you give up the hold, clear any clothing out of the way. Have him bring his other hand back. Bring your other hand back for me. Okay. Control the far hand first. This lets you put more tension on him if you need to. Feed the second hand through. Use this pressure point to manipulate the wrist if you need to. At this point, turn the person's head away from you. And again, I should be standing on his neck, but this is going to obscure your view even more. And proceed to your searching. I'll go ahead and show that from another angle. Did anybody ever find that key? Go ahead and cut that. Okay, we're going to let Bruce ease into this a little bit more readily this time. We want to cradle the arm using the same pin. Notice this time I'm holding his head down, giving you a little bit more realistic view. His arm is pinned up against my leg, okay? The arm blade comes in here so that if I really want to apply pressure to the arm, actually what I'm doing is squeezing together with my thighs. Okay, no matter how big the person's upper body is, my legs are stronger than his arms. Okay, now what we need to do, again, bring the other arm back, bring the other arm back for me, sir. Okay, if there's heavy clothing, take the time to get it out of the way, okay? If you need to, cuticle lock is a good way to increase the pain. Okay. Or simply twisting the hand. Again, once you have your cuffs out, apply heart 6. Notice the way I cut in. That just gives a little bit more release. I'm trying to put these on gently for him, but our hand comes around. Depending on his size, we may have to snap on this way. Okay, he's a decent sized person, and there we go. You all right down there, buddy?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, we're going to give you a close-up of some of the finger manipulations. Start with the finger lock and then progress to the cuticle lock. A lot of people do the finger lock taking the finger straight back. The problem is that this is only one-way action. Okay, the human body sometimes can resist one-way action very well. What Professor Wally J's small circle jiu-jitsu gives us is two-way action. Okay, this brings our person into more pain more quickly. Joint's not going just like this, it's not going just like this, going both ways at once. Okay, this is going to figure very prominently in the cuticle lock. Okay, this area of the finger, we still have a two-way action going. The base finger is lifting and the thumb is cutting downwards. Okay, right into the base of the cuticle, hence cuticle lock. In this position, you need to ground the person very quickly so that they don't get away. But again, just from here, and if he doesn't want to bring the other hand out, just reach up, assist here. It tends to make the hands come together. Bring a hand back, and there we have it. Okay. Acquisition on the thumb, keeps the hand bent back. That makes it fairly easy to position the hands. Here we can control. That was the finger rather than my knee. And since the cuffs are still on Bruce at this point, we'll just have to hold him here. Okay, thank you, Dave. Okay, what we're going to look at now is some of the ways that the lower body moves and some of the ways that can work for you or against you if you're trying to help somebody to the ground by sweeping their legs out. Dave, come on out for me. First thing that we have to realize is a lot of people train in martial arts compared to even 5-6 years ago. Generally speaking, the country's getting more into extreme athletics. That means people are more flexible than they used to be. If I go to do a simple leg sweep on Dave, what I may well find is his range of motion is higher than mine. Okay, this isn't good for me. Okay, even if I do this very violently, he slips it. Okay, he naturally can raise his foot. Gonna bring the leg up, just fine in that direction. So what I need to do is take his body in a way that it wouldn't normally go. If I'm coming in to do a sweep, unlikely that I'd be doing it from here without doing some offset to the upper body. What I want to do is take the leg away it doesn't normally go, out this way, to help break him down. Whatever his range of motion is, going in this line is not as much as I have going this way. Let's look at the difference again. Rather than trying to sweep the leg behind using a traditional either knee to knee or heel to heel, either way, lifting this way where he can slip out of it, what I want to do is take it out this way. Okay, we'll go over the pressure point aspect of this in a minute, but all I need to do is slip him down this far. At this point, once again, he's available right through here for the shoulder points that we talked about, the brachial plexus, or I can simply pass his head through it, bring him down into this type of position. Okay, come on up, Dave. What we're using to assist this, if you bring this leg forward, step from his ankle, we have a pressure point called spleen 6, otherwise known as triple yin. Okay? Activated by touch inwards, it serves to buckle the leg anyway. I have to be careful doing that here so his head doesn't clobber me, but as we roll in, that tends to make his leg buckle out anyway. So if we're in a clinch here, my foot goes into that point. I can shoot off other points lower on the foot, but this one's a fairly certain one to hit. Pushing the leg out, and it tends to make his body go like this. Notice that I have his arm pinned to me at this point. Okay. As we come down, we turn him, and we're right in this same familiar position that we've used for cuffing him. And put tension on him this way. If we're trying for an armbar type technique, okay, tapping him here, pulling him out, the same rules apply. If I simply come in and try and do this, he can lift his leg back, or worse, he can drop his knee to the ground and pin me. Okay, this isn't what I want. So I want to be able to come in here, strip the leg out this way, sorry, you all right? Reverse angle. I want to be able not to come in here where he can counter me, but out here where I can pull the leg this way, or even, if need be, take both legs and pull this way, bringing him down. Thank you, Dave. Okay, we're going to look at two variations off a close clinch. In other words, what happens if these techniques haven't been applied properly? What happens if the person has gotten a close hold on you? What are some things that you can do? So Bruce is going to come on out and help me show you the first one. I've got him trying to bring me in. Okay, he's got a good hold of me. He's bringing me in. Well, he wants me in. He's going to get me in. I'm going to catch the head and bring him in this way. Notice I'm touching my forehead to his. I just want to give him a little tap. Sorry. You all right? Mm-hmm. And all that happened is it looks like he slipped and fell down. He was never hit, struck, he wasn't even head-butted. Little tap up in the occipital foramen, and he goes down very quietly. All right? Mm-hmm. Doing a little bit of energy restoration on him. Obviously, you wouldn't do this in the field, but he's my student, not someone I'm trying to arrest. Okay. The energy systems in the body will right themselves anyway after about 30 minutes. Maybe less on most of these techniques. We're not teaching you anything too extreme here, but we are teaching you things that will get a bigger, stronger opponent off of you in a hurry. Dave's going to come on out and we'll give you a second variation. This is somebody more my own size, but still maybe closing aggressively. Okay. Same grappling control. If I don't have hair, I would grab an ear, but it's a lot more painful for him. Okay. This time we're just going to tap him in the jaw, and again, buckle him down. But the important thing to notice is that he wasn't hit. He was tapped and buckled. Okay? We're not trying to do the full out cold knockouts. So then the paramedics have to come and they can't figure out what's wrong with your person. We want just enough to get control. Okay? If he drops to a knee, or drops to both knees, you have control of him, and that's what we're after right now. Maximum control with minimum impact. Thank you, Dave. Okay, let's give you a little explanation about just what happened. Okay, with hair grabs, it's important to understand, Dave's going to come on back out, a little bit hesitantly this time. Your body has polarity to it, just like your car battery. If I come and grab Dave right here and grab his hair, nothing happens, okay? What I have to do is reach around behind him and get a positive and a negative together. This is what lets him relax and causes this buckle effect. I can throw him with nothing more than this. Let's change sides so that they can see where I'm going. As I bring him around, I pull everything through this side of his face tight. This brings a number of pressure points to the surface, any one of which can be tapped very lightly and will produce the effect that you saw, where he buckles to the floor. Now, in the case of Bruce, we chose gallbladder 20, which lies on the occipital right in the back of the head. Some systems of defensive tactics are now teaching you that an open hand slap back here is an acceptable way to get somebody's attention or to maybe take the fight out of them. It will, but this is not as effective as this. The knuckle slides right in. And it's not a full-on ridge hand or ridge arm type of attack where you're trying to knock the person's head off. It's a very gentle bump. The reason Bruce went down as well as he did was we compounded the attack. Grasping here, I'm putting my forehead in, not in the sense of headbutting him, but to control his head and to short him out, and then the tap comes in here. We're not going to tap him this time though. The reason for putting the head in is twofold. One, you're right there anyway, and two, it keeps him from spinning, biting, anything else. We have more control on his head this way than we do if we're simply wrestling around out here. If my grip here isn't perfect, even coming like this or coming with the knuckles in will be enough to set up the tap. In a real combative situation, we might add a low-line attack to go with that. Okay? This is where understanding how all these pressure points work together comes in. Okay. Thank you, Dave.